Please, you have the
All
floor.
right. Thank you. Well, thank you, Pete. Thank you very much for having me, and well, thank you for your interest in our partnership. I am, as Pete, I think, just mentioned, one of the members of the coordination team of the EDELNet partnership. And so that's why I think it would be interesting for you to hear maybe a couple of things about our partnership and the things that we're doing as an example of internationalization in higher education, as the title of this presentation suggests. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to present our strategic partnership. And I'm going to say a couple of words about our common plans on the short, mid, and long run. Then finally, I'll say a couple of words about our doctorate school, for which I'm also the coordinator from here, from Hagen, working together with our Dutch and Spanish colleagues from OU and UNED. So with regard to our strategic partnership, well, in fact, the cooperation between these three universities started in 2008 on the bachelor's level. So we started organizing summer schools together, so it worked very well, actually, and it was a very successful experience over time. And so 2 or 3 years ago, there was also the request from my university, from Hagen, to create a new or to establish a doctorate school. It is maybe interesting for you to know that the reason why this has to be done now is because the traditional system in Germany for obtaining a PhD is a so-called individual system, in which PhD candidates kind of conclude a bilateral contract with their future supervisors, and so that it's basically an individual program, bilateral program between the two, the supervisor and the candidate. And this is something that many German universities have been trying to change over the past 3-4 years. And so I was mainly responsible for that. So what we did is we thought actually that was one of the requirements from the university, that this new doctorate school had to be international in nature. So we would start from scratch, but we would try to benefit from the experiences of our partners. And in doing so, we also decided to draw on the experience that we had gathered during the organization of these summer schools on the bachelor's level. So in the end, what we came up with was with a number of opportunities, if you will, in terms of common objectives, that led us to think that it would be a good idea to establish a full-fledged partnership within which to develop both common teaching, training, and research activities between the three institutions, and potentially other new partners. And so we established that partnership 2 years ago in 2014, and I remember the partnership agreement was signed during the 2014 EADT, EADTU annual conference in Krakow. The strategic partnership, well, first of all, we are law faculties, basically. So this is the EDELNet comes from European Distance Education in Law Network. So we're basically interested in legal education. As I'm going to say in a moment, this doesn't rule out the possibility. And actually, the objective of doing this in an interdisciplinary manner and in different ways that I'm going to talk about in a moment. But our partnership started in 2014, and so I'm going to use the introduction now, but I should have used maybe a couple of minutes ago. So this strategic partnership. The strategic partnership between these three universities. The main goal of this partnership is to further cultural exchange and best practices in high quality legal education on all levels of the Bologna system. So basically bachelor's, LLM, and PhD. We also have very clear transversal objectives. Transversal because, well, they add something to the partnership, to the cooperation, to our activities that comes from other fields of expertise, but that constitute what we consider to be the adequate model of legal education today, and hopefully during the coming years. First of all, and in order to address not only the needs that a international and European legal system pose for legal education today, but also in order to address the needs that we as a partnership, as an international cooperation structure team have, we decided to include intercultural communication skills, intercultural communication or awareness, if you prefer, as a key element of our partnership. The second element was clearly directed towards one of the main, what we consider to be one of the main shortcomings in terms of legal education today as well, which is the didactic approach. And in that sense, we decided to use, or first of all, develop our own and then apply our own student-oriented blended active learning concept. So this is the second transversal objective or principle of our partnership. And finally, as I said earlier, there is of course this objective to cooperate in terms of teaching and training, but also research. So there is this idea of improving the quality of our scientific production, the scientific production of all members of the partnership, in order to meet high quality standards. All right. So within this partnership, we have developed certain plans in order to implement these very broad goals of ours. So in the short and medium term, our main objectives, the plans, the most important plans that we have now, that we're actually already implementing, consist of designing and implementing together international common teaching and research activities. We're basically now focusing on the teaching part. There is here mentioned to cooperation with known partners that we're working on as well. We plan to invite colleagues from Open University UK and from a campus university from the University of Bologna for our next activities this year. And then we have the long-term goals. Basically, we would like to establish joint programs on the master's and PhD levels, and to guarantee the sustainability of our bachelor's common teaching activities. I'm going to explain in a moment what all this means when I say teaching activities. But I'm going to do that by showing you what we're doing on the PhD level, which would be the final part of this presentation, I guess. So, as an example of what we're doing, I wanted to say a couple of things about our program, PhD program. So first of all, last year we applied for one of the DAAD Erasmus Plus funding openings. It was actually the program for strategic partnerships, KA2. So it's Key Action 2 of the 2015 call. And so we asked for funding for a 3-year-long project, three-year-long program that includes activities, teaching and training activities on all these 3 levels: bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. However, the most important part of our project within this framework, let's say the program that is getting most part of the money from this application that we actually won. The funding was awarded to us. And so we're now running this 3-year-long program from 2015 to 2018, is the PhD program. So the bachelor's and the master's programs or activities benefit from many or all of these transversal elements that I'm going to say a couple of words about in a moment. And we also have face-to-face intensive study programs on the bachelor's and master's level. For example, the first bachelor's and master's intensive study programs, these are face-to-face activities, are going to take place in a month in Berlin. But again, the most important part of our project in terms of using this funding from Erasmus Plus goes to the doctorate program. So first of all, I'm gonna divide the activities that we are carrying out in 3 according to their content, their nature. First of all, we are designing and implementing virtual and face-to-face teaching activities in application of this blended learning concept. And second, we have staff training activities. We want to improve and increase the ability, the skills, the competencies of our teachers, our lecturers. And finally, we are developing a number of materials, courses, virtual common courseware that belongs to all 3 partners. Of course, this happens together or simultaneously to I think the camera is not very sharp right now. Wow, doesn't matter. So this is this is being implementing alongside the virtual mobility cooperation that we already had between the three universities, so that we can use some modules from the other partners. Our students can take these courses from UNED or from the Dutch OU, and their students can take ours as well. But these courses that I'm talking about now are actually common completely. So I'm not sure it would fall under the category of virtual mobility, but it definitely is that kind of virtual teaching activities that I was talking about. So first, we have these intensive study programs. So I'm sure most of you know what this is about. So we just meet for a week somewhere in Spain or Holland or in Germany, and so we invite our students to come over and participate in presentations and seminars together with our lecturers. And so this would be the first element, and actually it's the most important part in terms of face-to-face teaching activities that we have. And second, we have these virtual mobility modules that I was talking about. I'm going to say a couple of words about that in a moment, so in order to explain a little bit more in detail what this is about. Then we have the staff training activities, and so far we have two sets of objectives here, or if you will, fields where we're working on. The first of them is this intercultural communication skills that we want our staff to have, and that we want our students to be exposed to during our face-to-face activities, but also during the preparation phase that we have, online preparation phase that we have before the training activities, the face-to-face activities actually take place. So this intercultural communication activities or consist basically of two elements. First of all, we have developed an online course training for our staff and for our students. But concerning our staff, then what we have is a face-to-face activity, a training activity that lasts for 3 days, where we get together, and so actually with the help of our colleagues from community psychology chair, so we're working here with our colleagues from other faculties. We offer that training for our staff, so from all three partner countries. Then we have the student-oriented methods of active learning training. Again, we have involved here colleagues from the faculty of pedagogy, or chairs of pedagogy and education sciences, and so they are preparing for us first of all online modules for staff training, and then in order to complete this training, we offer the possibility of attending face-to-face training activities for a week. Well, again, anywhere, Spain, Germany, Holland. And finally, we have these common mobility modules, or virtual mobility modules, that I was talking about. So most part of our effort in terms of developing courseware is focusing on the PhD level. So what we are doing with this is we have developed a common, very basic common curriculum for our common doctorate school, and so we are now developing all the elements necessary to implement and to open this to our students, this doctorate school. So our focus is again on 2 or 3 elements. For first, methodological aspects and some key substantive areas of law. So we have all different specialties as different law faculties. So it was difficult to find common ground. Well, not extremely difficult, of course. We are all lawyers, but there were different cultures and different dynamics and interests in terms of teaching on that level. So we had to go to the common minimum level that we could find, and this was finally the methodological level. So what we basically do, and that's what we're doing in terms of developing our courseware, is to teach students, to train them very thoroughly in research methodology, which is actually if you have a look at many doctorate schools that exist today, you know, actually that's not such a bad idea, because I was always convinced that this is an aspect that is usually gets too little attention. So again, we also are paying attention to some other substantive areas that we consider to be important as an international partnership that consists basically of lawyers, law faculties, and that was first international law and European Union law. But there are other elements, like, for example, comparative law. So what we're trying, of course, here to find out what were the common interests. Secondly, well, language competences. None of us are English native speakers. So yeah, we are a Spanish university, a German university, and a Dutch university. So we try to make sure, of course, that people who join the program have certain basic skills in terms of language. I'm talking about now English language, so certain basic command of the English language. But of course, it is also a good idea, at least we thought it would be, to offer students the possibility of improving their language skills. So we have also developed both online courses and face-to-face seminars that we embed in the face-to-face activities, these intensive study programs, and that help them improve their English competences. And finally, well, there's an element that I have already said something about, so it's the intercultural communication skills. So as I said, under the second section, the intercultural communication objective is not only addressing needs in our staff, but also in our students, and in order to make sure that this working together of students is going to be productive and smooth as far as it goes, we also offer them the possibility. Actually, we have made this mandatory. We ask them to take these intercultural communication trainings, well, I think that would be all from me.